Hello, I'm Delwyn Graham of Graham Wealth Partners, which is part of Canaccord Genuity Wealth Management. Today we're talking to Jeff Haggerty, which is our wealth and estate planning specialist. He's an integral part of our team because he brings direction to both our clients and ourselves. Today Jeff's going to talk a bit about retirement, but I thought first he should introduce himself a bit more. And so I'll ask him first, Jeff, what do you do for us here?
So technically my title is Wealth and Estate Planning Specialist. What does that mean? Well, I wear two hats here at Canaccord. The first hat is doing in-depth financial planning for our clients. So that's interviewing them through a discovery meeting and then meeting with them and developing a plan and then presenting that financial plan to them and working with their accountants or lawyers or other professionals to help implement the plan. The second hat that I wear is I'm an insurance specialist. So in developing the plan, there sometimes is an insurance need there. So I'm able to look at the various products that we offer and help provide a solution for a client when it comes to life or disability or critical illness protection and working with the advisor to develop that.
Well, I mean, one thing that I appreciate of you, Jeff, is that you always provide solutions that are very holistic, from cradle to grave. So how do you approach retirement in a holistic way?
Well, there's not just retirement planning. There's actually 4 pillars when it comes to financial planning. So we look at, first of all, when we look at wealth accumulation or building or saving your wealth, that's just one pillar. So let's say you're a 40-year-old, you're still working, you have 20 years out to retirement, you're building your nest egg. So what we look at there is, based on reasonable returns and expectations, what are we building and what is the goal towards what we're building for? And then trying to see realistically if you're able to achieve your goal. So it could be, I want to retire at 60 and I need $10,000 a month in today's dollars. And so from there, we'd have to work backwards using reasonable returns and other income and see, is that client able to achieve that expectation? If not, what are some alternatives? So that's one pillar, wealth accumulation. Why are you building wealth and what are you saving for? Retirement, house, education, that sort of thing. The other thing is wealth conversion to income. So as you phase from accumulation, you're going to go into decumulation, they call it, and you're going to actually now start using your assets to develop an income. And so from there, what we want to look at is a tax efficient way to start taking an income from the various pots of money. So clients may typically have tax-free savings accounts, RRSPs, non-registered investments. You could be a business owner with corporate investments. And so we put it all together to see how do we produce that $10,000 a month in a tax efficient manner so that the client will pay as little tax as possible. And then also working obviously with you, the investment advisor, on where to hold those investments and how to create that income with various investment products. The other pillars is also wealth protection. So that's the insurance side of it, or making sure there's an emergency savings, that sort of thing. So whether it's life insurance for survivor needs, husband and wife are working, they're in their 40s. If the husband passes away, how does that leave the wife? How does that leave the kids? How much life insurance do we need to make sure that the family is provided for? Same thing with disability. Our biggest asset is the ability to produce income. So whether that's disability insurance or critical illness protection, something to replace any lost income in the event of a major illness or disability, that sort of thing. So that's protecting your wealth. And then a lot of people on the other side, as they've built their wealth and they're drawing that income, then you have wealth preservation. So, as an example, you could be a 70-year-old couple living off your wealth quite comfortably. We note that there's never going to be a situation where you're ever going to run out of money. You have more than enough money to look after yourself. So now the question becomes, where and how do you want to give your money? Do you have charitable intent? Do you want to set up a foundation or a charitable gift program? How do you want to leave the money to your kids? Do you want to leave it while they're alive and see the gifting that you're doing, or do you want to leave it after you pass away? How do we do that tax efficiently? That's another possible use of life insurance. So again, those four main areas is what we tend to look at to make sure we take a holistic approach to retirement planning.
And I imagine you focus in on the specific instances the specific client that you're referring to. So you would have a different approach for someone with a pension and without a pension. Is that right? Well, I assume that's right.
Well, definitely, and especially you as the investment advisor, we have to look at the risk that we need to take with the client, right? So, and the type of income that they're already receiving. So someone with a pension, for instance, may not need to touch their investment portfolio just because they're receiving that fixed income. And you can kind of think of that almost as part of their bond portfolio, because that pension is going to provide them that set amount of income for life, right? So, someone with a pension may want more growth in their portfolio because they're not utilizing it and they want to grow it over time. So you as the investment advisor may look at a different approach to how you invest that portfolio versus someone that doesn't have a pension and you need to sort of produce more income for them, right? So in that circumstance, you may take a more income-based approach to how you would invest for the client. So definitely, we have to look at all areas of the client's financial picture when making some of these recommendations.
I know that when people think of retirement through advertising, they think of retirement as a golden age. What are certain things that people don't think of when they think of retirement, and perhaps that you've encountered that you might want to talk about a bit?
Well, interesting enough, and I've heard that there's been studies done, and I don't mean to go down the negative side of things, but one thing people need to be aware of that is a lot of your identity is built in with what you do for a living. So, me, I think of myself as a wealth and estate planner. You don't want to make that your entire identity, but unfortunately that becomes who you are, right? So when you retire, there's almost a loss of that identity.
Yes.
And so you may find some individuals actually, at first they might be excited. They're doing a lot of activities. They're traveling. They're golfing a lot. But eventually that sort of wears and goes.
Yeah, it gets old.
It gets old quickly. Yeah. So I have encountered a few times where clients, get a little depressed after they retire. So I think redefining who you are, your identity, finding things that you're going to enjoy through retirement, looking at, maybe different activities you never thought of, maybe more hobbies, more volunteering. I think a lot of clients that like to volunteer definitely continue volunteering. So, I find, you're not going to retire and not all of a sudden find yourself sitting at home one day going, well, what do I do now?
Yeah,
right?
So you want to stay in the game.
You want to stay in the game. So that's one thing. A couple other things to consider, and so I'll kind of pull back to some minor details. Mm-hmm. One is, the loss of their benefits, right? Yeah. So they have to be aware that, when you leave your employer, a lot of employers don't have post-retirement benefits. So that's something that you should fit into your budget when you're planning for retirement. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the other one is for those people that like to travel insurance starts to get really expensive, especially after age 75. So you need to start to account for some of these other expenses that you may not have been aware of. So
once you take responsibility for your life, from your employer to yourself, I assume individual insurance becomes more important. Can you tell me more about how insurance plays a role in retirement itself?
Well, the two items that I mentioned, obviously. So there's two ways to really think about insurance. One is to protect yourself and your family, and the other one, it can be used for a good estate preservation tool, or transferring wealth to the next generation. So one way we look at insurance for retirees is, let's say you do have that pensioner.
Yeah.
What is their survivor benefit to their wife or to their husband? If that individual passed away tomorrow and they chose a pension form or their pension doesn't pay to the survivor,
Yeah.
it's probably a good idea to get some life insurance to make sure that if that husband passes away, the wife will have some, husband or wife would have some funds to look after themselves. The other thing is estate preservation. So if we know that you have enough wealth for yourselves, we can look at other tools like permanent life insurance, which can be used as an investment almost, to provide a tax-free death benefit or inheritance to the next generation, or to cover taxes and charges when both spouses pass, that sort of thing. So definitely insurance does play a role into retirement.
Yeah, I mean, obviously retirement's a massive, massive topic. And I think probably in the future, we're going to break this down and perhaps talk to you about specifically about your 4 pillars on an individual basis. As it stands right now, thanks, Jeff, for talking to us about retirement. And thank you for watching. If you'd like to talk to Jeff or any of us, please contact us at www.grahamwealth.com. Please like and subscribe, and thanks again.